But I can sort of take that and think, maybe this isn't escalating. And then you need 5 points to be able to post writing. Hey there, I'm Nicole. Welcome back to my channel. I am a writer and story nerd, and today I am talking all about beta reader feedback. So there's a community online called Scribophile where you can post your writing, and if you critique, you get critiques. So today I am going to bring you to the website, show you around a little bit, and then walk you through the beta reader feedback that I got. Okay, so this is the Scribophile dashboard. Basically, it tells you about things about your stories as well as things you've critiqued, and then it gives you thank you reminders. I have to thank everyone who gave me a critique still. If you go to the writing tab, this is where you find writing that is waiting for a critique. So stories go into spotlights. If they have a spotlight, then you can get full points for critiquing it. So there's only a few things in the spotlight at a time. And when you post your work, you wait to be able to go into this spotlight so other people will critique your work. So there's always a bunch here that you can choose from to critique. I'm just gonna randomly click here for a second on this person's writing. So if I go here and I say write a critique, then if I have a critique that's at least 125 words, I get 1 karma point. For every word over the first 25, you get a little bit more. So my critiques, I tend to write really long critiques. So my critiques are usually between like 300 and 800 words. So I can get about 1.25 points per critique-ish. And then you need 5 points to be able to post writing. What I do is I would basically have their writing here, and then you can click in here and you can write comments as you read. I'm not gonna get too into critiquing right now, but I'm gonna go over to menu. So here you see the number of karma points that I have, reputation points and critique likes. I don't really know what these are, but if I go to post a work for critique, you see you need 5 karma points to be able to do it. 5 critiques of 125 words, or you need like 4 of like 300, 400 words. I tend to be able to do it in 4. On Scribophile, you can only post up to 3,000 words at a time. I don't think that trying to post an entire novel on Scribophile is worth it. A, because that's a lot of karma points. B, because people generally will only read like one part. It's kind of rare to get someone who will read through a whole story. I have had someone do that when I had 4 or 5 Christmas short stories about a year ago. I posted them all, and I had one amazing person who read through the whole series and gave me amazing feedback, and it totally transformed everything. But that's fairly rare, and I imagine with a novel it would be even more rare. So it's much better to do it for smaller units of story. I have a few of these are short stories, and then I would throw in like a chapter that I want critiqued if I need critiques kind of on the voice or the characters. So 1837 Part 1 was literally like the first chapter of my novel because I needed motivation to write it and I wanted some feedback on the idea. So now you have a bit of an idea of the structure of the site, and I'm going to take you through the beta reader feedback that I got for a piece that I posted on here about a week ago, 10 days ago. This is from my Christmas short story series. I'm calling it Christmas short story number 3. So this is the 3rd one. There are 7 total. This is in the 3rd or 4th draft or 5th draft or something at this point. I think I've lost track. This story is about a girl named Katie who is a teenager, and she shows up at her friend's house. Her friend's name is Sky, and Sky's brother Noah. So Sky and Noah lost their mom a couple months ago. This is their first Christmas without their mom, and their dad is absent pretty much. So Noah really wants to decorate the house for Christmas, and the girls are not super enthusiastic about it. I'm probably gonna show comments on the first like 4 paragraphs or so as we do it, but not the whole thing, because that would take a long time. Okay, so there are both comments on critiques on this work. So this first one is a critique, or this first one is a comment. So a comment people don't get any karma points for. Critiques have to have a certain amount of actionable feedback and suggestions. If someone doesn't have a lot of suggestions, they'll just make their critique a comment. I'm going to read little bits of it as we go. So Sky opens the front door half a second after I knock. She's wearing black jeans and a white sweatshirt, her impossibly blonde hair in a bun. She has dark circles under her eyes, circles that are startling to see on someone my own age. Thank God. She grabs my arm and yanks me into the house. Noah hauled a dozen boxes up in the basement without even telling me about it. He's in the living room now. He put on Christmas carols, Katie, and she suggests he's listening too. Yeah, I like that a lot better. I like the suggestion a lot better because listening is a more interesting verb than put on, or he's blasting Christmas carols, or he's listening to Christmas carols, or he's turned the radio on, or something like that is better than just put. Put is kind of dry. If we keep going, we see that a couple other little bits of feedback. I'm not going to read the whole thing here. People are great on Scribophile about saying when they like something, which is always helpful. If we keep going down, sorry, there's a bit here. Everyone's been like, the China Santa, what the heck? So it's supposed to be ceramic. Literally every single person said that, so I guess I'm the only person. I thought China doll, China Santa, but apparently not. The rest of her comments, she really didn't say anything else, but she gave me some really nice comments at the end. Thank you for this sad snapshot of loss and pain. I think it's close to perfect just the way it is. Make it a comment rather than a critique. Again, when you don't have actionable feedback on Scribophile, you make it a comment. Captured angst, pain, and anger. You know, there's some very nice things, or may not be true, but they're nice to hear. Okay, so here we have a critique. I think this is the best critique that I got. It's also the longest one. So subjective suggestions below. Okay, so here, same first paragraph, she says, this may be a good opportunity to ground the reader a bit to the characters. Rather than my own age, you could add in a description that lets us know that these are teenagers. Yes, I 100% think I need to establish that they're teenagers in this paragraph. She's right, it needs to be more obvious. That is something I'm going to take into consideration for sure. That's a great comment. If someone finds something that they don't like, they'll say it in the closing comments about the story overall. And then I give them likes and things because that gives them extra karma points. It's just a nice thing to do. Okay, so there's another style of critique other than inline, and it's called like a template critique. This is probably the worst critique that I got, honestly. So Noah insisting that Sky stays and Sky insisting to leave is stretched too much. Noah is saying the same thing over and over. Do something about that. So this comment is interesting to me. Nobody else brought this up, this issue of it feeling too stretched. But I can sort of take that and think, maybe this isn't escalating. If it feels repetitive to someone, maybe I need to reread it again and make sure that each beat is escalating the situation. I think that's what she's saying here. I'm not going to change the conflict or add other things in, and no one's going to change what they want, but I can make sure that their dialogue is escalating. She says I should add a scene about their father, which is funny. The story before this one, and this person has absolutely no way of knowing that, is about the father, so that's fine. I can ignore that. You can see pacing is just fine. Descriptions are well. That doesn't tell me much. The first paragraphs were a bit confusing. Could not figure out who Sky was. Anyone who read the first two stories would know. So that's something I can kind of ignore. She wants to know who is older. Again, that's something that anyone who read the first two would know, but that's a good point just to keep in mind. The readers could use a bit of physical description of Katie. I don't think that physical description is very important in this story, unfortunately, so I don't think I will add any. It doesn't have anything to do with what's going on, so I don't think I'll add any, but I mean, it's a fair point for someone who's trying to visualize it. And here she's basically suggesting that I emphasize how this is different than how it used to be. So emphasize that this Christmas without the mom is so different than how things used to be around their house. And I've sort of done that again with the previous stories, but I agree there could possibly be another line of flashback. I think you should always start the dialogue from a new line and not in the middle. That was that one thing. There's one time where I do that near the beginning of the story that I have to fix. Dialogues of Noah required to be reframed, I think. I can make sure there's not a lot of repetitiveness, and again, that it's escalating, but I don't really agree. And then she likes those dialogues. Is that a word? Sure. This piece was grammatically okay. This critique wasn't grammatically okay, but that's okay. You still get constructive. And then the other critiques are a bit more of the same. So you see some more comments. That's another big problem with Scribophile, right? That no one reads the full thing. You still do get things about line editing, things about the shifts and the structure of scenes. So that is Scribophile, and those are the kind of critiques that you get. So I tried to show ones that were pretty different. I showed a nice comment, I showed some critiques that were in line and one that was not in line, and some that were kind of better than others. I've gotten some really great feedback on Scribophile before. I've got some really crappy feedback on Scribophile before. It's the luck of the draw, but I have gotten a lot of value out of it. If you are looking for feedback on shorter pieces or specific scenes or line editing, I can't recommend it highly enough, especially if you also enjoy critiquing. So that's a little bit about my beta reader feedback process. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, if you liked this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. YouTube loves thumbs up, and it makes me happy. If you're not subscribed, definitely click the big red button and come join our writing community. And yes, if you have any thoughts or comments on the video, let me know below, and I will see you next time.